A beautiful day to you. It's that time of the show, Citizen Dialogue on First Next News, where we will be bringing you trending stories in the society. First, the headlines. David Mark tells Senate not to speak for INEC on e-transmission. Ipob cancels Monday sit-at-home across Southeast. Gunmen ambush vehicles along Onitsha Enugu Expressway. Joining me on set to have this conversation is Kings Ojalo and Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu. It's a pleasure having you Kings on our show.
Thank you so much, Cassie.
Happy New Week.
I wish you the same.
How was your weekend?
It was great, and yours?
Very well.
Yeah.
So you said you have things packed up for us today.
Of course, with due process, it will definitely be unleashed.
Okay. All right, Mr. Ugochukwu, thank you so much for joining us. It's a pleasure having you.
Kasi, good morning, Kings.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, Port Harcourt. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, all the followers of First Next News all over the world. And it's a pleasure being here, and we'll continue to discuss Nigeria.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, thanks for having me.
And I remain your host, Cassie Tuni. So to our first story, David Mark, the former Senate president, has come out to object the controversy, the issues surrounding the e-transmission. He said that the Senate president, which is Akpabio, he should allow the INEC to decide what they want, saying that the people have the right to choose what they want. Since they want electronic transmission electoral result, he should not object. He shouldn't cancel it. He should bring it, he should publish the law and allow INEC to choose whether or not they want it. Now I'm coming to you, Mr. Ugochukwu. Can you tell us more about this new development?
You know, Cassie, the Electoral Act of Nigeria, which they said that they are about tinkering or they have already altered it. There is the Electoral Act that was signed into law by the then president, now late, Muhammadu Buhari. We knew when, before the coming of Buhari, we recall that the election that ushered in the late Musa Yar'Adua was very controversial, which he also admitted that the election that brought him into office was very controversial, and promised Nigerians of amending the Electoral Act to be world standard, that elections will not be rigged again in Nigeria. So he owned up, and we should not forget that the person that conducted that election was supervised by no other person than former President Olusegun Obasanjo. And not only that election favored the late Yar'Adua, the election also favored a whole lot of politicians. We know that people like T.A. Oji, Abia State, was in detention when he got elected. We also get to know about some other politicians, even those that did not campaign, even those people that were rejected by their people won elections, and they will only be told to go to court. We should also recall that even the then president, Yar'Adua, was far away in a hospital, in an unknown location, when he was, it was Obasanjo that campaigned on his behalf, and also won the election for him. Well, shouldn't forget, and Nigerians who are not short-memoried should remember during the presidential chat, Obasanjo called, Umaru, are you dead? They say you are dead. Are you alive? You know, we shouldn't forget on national television. That will show you to cajole Nigerians into what befell us. But a flip to it, when Yar'Adua was sworn in, he owned up, that the election that brought him in was flawed, and promised Nigerians the tinkering of that particular fraud Electoral Act that was bequeathed on Nigerians by the military of Abdul Salam Abubakar and his cohorts. Then you flip to that, that did not allow Nigerians to enjoy all the agendas or whatever he came on, he had on rolled up his sleeves. We now got to Jonathan.
to interject you now. Let's bring it over to why.
No, you can't, Cassie, you can't do that unless we know where we are coming from.
Okay.
We cannot know where we are going to. No, we don't. Nigerians are very short-memoried.
Okay.
That this particular electoral act they are fighting for now, somebody started it. So history should be kind to the person.
Okay.
You know, we in Nigeria, citizens are always swallowing whatever is thrown at us. But in this 21st century, this AI, we have passed the jet age, this AI age.
Okay.
So questions should be asked. And who started it? There's an Igbo proverb that if you don't remember where the rain started hitting you, you cannot remember where it stopped. It stopped hitting you, perhaps. So that's why I'm going down this memory lane. It's very important.
Okay.
Then the death was not kind to us, but Jonathan stepped in. We saw the whole lot of shenanigans that happened. Jonathan came in. When Jonathan came in, he continued from what Yar'Adua built upon. The amnesty granted to Niger Delta militants, then also continued in that electoral act alteration that brought about the electronic mode of it.
Okay.
It was Jonathan that brought it in, where we had the other machine that was used. Then, flip to that, Jonathan lost 2015 general elections that ushered in Muhammadu Buhari. Buhari was pressured into continuing and bettering what Jonathan did. And coming to that, what Buhari did after the whole amendment and alteration was to, they were not specifically clear on the mode of transmission of that result. That's still where we are now. Because that mode of transmission, from what Ababio and what David Mark is reacting to, David Mark was the Senate president then. What did he do? Nigerians are quick to judge when they know that when they are on that saddle, nobody questions them. And they suddenly develop amnesia. But immediately they leave the office, they begin to remember the things they hitherto would have done to better the lot of Nigerians. They shouldn't deceive us. We are students of history. They should not deceive us. So is Jonathan whipping up sentiment or trying to buy cheap, political popularity?
Okay, now we're referring to David Mark.
Yes, the David Mark, who is now accusing Akpabio. He was the person on the saddle. He killed the third tenure of Obasanjo. Kudos to him. Because if he had, slammed that power of authority and said that the year have it, Obasanjo would have gone for third tenure. But he did well to save Nigeria from a lot of political crises then. But he was there when the Electoral Act started building up the amendment. So now Ababio is there. And we conducted the 2023 general elections, 2019, that was shrouded in secrecy and a lot of controversy. And good thing, the late Muhammadu Buhari tried to, after so much pressure from so many quarters, but the gray area that should have defined the Nigerian electoral system was left at the purview of INEC. And if Ababio is telling us that 9 states there are no network, the electric power failure and all that, he should tell that to the birds. Because Nigeria at this time, we are supplying power supply to neighboring countries. Our electricity here, we are not generating up to 5,000 megawatts. Even when we generate it, we can't transmit all.
Okay.
If not, a lot of things will get damaged in Nigeria because of obsolete and old system, electricity cables, and all those things that they did in the 1960s during the colonial era. Then, when you flip to that, the Electoral Act by now, when Nigeria, you know where I started from?
The history.
Yes. Is that by now, Nigeria has decided to go electronically. We shouldn't be talking about not having network in some places. If we are a country that is very serious, and a country that knows our onion, and a country that wants to develop, Nigeria shouldn't be using that as a yardstick for any schools to dodge what is fundamental.
Okay.
Who is Ipob going to blame for not making concerted effort to have electricity in those areas, or to go to China or wherever and formulate a particular device, a particular machine that people can take to remote places and get it once it's charged? It can draw network there, but even before now, we had what we call locomotive. We design according to our peculiarity. Each country that uses electronic transmission, electronic device is according to your peculiarity. Recall that even it was in abroad, I saw that the ATM machine we are making use of here, that in some countries, you take your money, you don't even see bank. You go to shopping malls, you go to fuel station, you put in your money, it will be counted by the machine and taken. If there is a rough money, normally when you do the counting with the machine, it will reject it, you straighten it and put it in, it will assimilate the money and send it to where you're sending. It's not only withdrawal. But in Nigeria, they first of all brought us an obsolete ATM machines. But in overseas, they have been using it over time. Even as I'm speaking to you in Nigeria, it's only few banks that have that particular machine that you can place your money
and
it will count and you do your transaction. But those things are existing. So who are the Nigerian government after spending billions of naira plus the monies that World Bank, the USAID and other countries give Nigeria during elections to make sure that elections are seamless? It is not only Nigeria that sponsor election, that contribute money for election. EU does so. That is why they question when our our processes are not smooth, because they also contribute. So what Ipob is telling us, that after 15 years of the introduction of electronic system in the Nigerian election, that Nigeria have not been able to fashion out and factor the one that best suits our electoral process in the hinterlands. And I am even very happy that it was not what's his name, Alin Dume, who says that even people in his village recall that when Buhari was to pass this during 2022, before the 2023 general elections, it was Alin Dume that raised a concern that people in his own senatorial district cannot receive transfer of money. That means there's no network there. He was the person that raised that argument then.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Before you flip over,
I will come back to you.
So, but the one that Ipob is becoming the person to defend INEC is what beats my imagination.
Okay. I will come back to you on this discussion. Thank you so much. So over to you, Kings. If Nigerians want e-transmission, why is the Senate saying no? Why don't they allow INEC to try it?
In addition to my humble colleague,
you have a contrary opinion, or you want to?
No, I don't think there should be a contrary opinion to this, because my colleague has also stated the facts, and there are also additions to that which I will also state. Well, you see the action of the Senate and also of that of Ipob, you can see that it's quite been manipulative. You understand? Him, his shenanigans, and thereabouts. Just as my colleague stated, why is he trying to, bring back the old formula using the excuses of not having adequate facilities like electricity and also networking in some 9 states, just as he stated clearly. My colleague, in his statement, I think he forgot to add the statement of the former president. We were talking about Goodluck Jonathan. I could recall when one of his campaign, during him and Atiku and Buhari, where he made it very clear to Nigerians that, look, these people who are my oppositions are trying to rabble Nigerians back to the old ways, back to the old format, back to the old system. And I think is what we are witnessing right now. You understand? The president came in just a few months in his administration. He launched in the national anthem, deviating from the usual ones Nigeria know, and that is one. Let me not even go about. Let me not go to subsidy. You understand? So if you look at this administration, including Akpabio as the Senate president, you see that it's more or less like a joint force. You understand? In order to manipulate one or two activities that will relate to that of the 2027 election, because I don't see any reason, just like my colleague said, this electoral transmission act has been on even since the time of Goodluck Jonathan, and also he also talked about Yadwa and all of that, while Buhari enforcing it. So now coming to give excuse, that is, I'm talking about the Senate president, coming to give excuse that, it's because of some crucial breakdowns. That is why we are bringing this into act. David Mark, recalling this, he has stated the fact, and I really give kudos to David Mark, coming out to speak in this form. You understand? Trying to make sure that the INEC as an institution do the needful. You understand? Because at first, I don't see any reason why David Mark should, be bringing out this logic, bringing out this, passing this bill into law, or wanting to. You understand?
No, Akpabio.
Akpabio. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Akpabio wanted to pass this bill into law. Even when the INEC has not formally introduced or come into the matter or taking the matter serious. So definitely with all of this, we see that this pride is pretty a manipulative system for a particular agenda, with their so-called head trying to, you understand, make sure that it all favors their arrival coming 2027 election. You understand? So Akpabio, trying to justify that is a failure of Greek collapsing occurring in some certain poor infrastructure, and specifically citing 9 states. That is just, and that is a formulative way to blindfold Nigeria, so that this mission, this agenda will definitely work. So I really want to give kudos to some of the senators who have come out to speak against it, and also just the former Senate President David Mark, who has also speak against it. You understand? Because it seems as if Nigerians are pretty hopeless, in this situation. You understand? A lot of citizens, yes, we have some unions who will come out to protest, but if you could look at the various protests that has been occurring by some organizations, some critics, some how would I call them, some activists, all effort has not been effective so far. So definitely, these are high-profile personalities who are coming out to speak, and I really think they've done well. So I think just as Okonkwo, I think the Veterinary Act also made it clear, if you could recall last week, where he said he should be impeached. I think that is the only measure. Someone who is trying to use the Senate power to play gamble with the Nigerian Constitution, that kind of a person shouldn't be, in that position to do that, or else the country will be unraveled overnight.
Okay, thank you so much, King. So over to you, Ogochukwu. You made mention that the former Senate president, that's an ADC chairman, when it was his turn, he did not implement it, or rather he swept it under the carpet. Now he's trying to shield another person, making the person look like, okay, this person is not actually working. Meanwhile, in his own term, he didn't do the same thing. He's trying to come out to play God. Now, is the Senate, are they shielding INEC, or they are shielding INEC from bringing transparency when it comes to election?
You see, the truth be told, that Nigeria, we are not ready. especially this set of political leaders that we have. Because recall when this 10th Assembly was inaugurated, I was one of those that spoke out when even the opposition recall that Labour Party made an inroad. They surprised everybody, even those people that say their structure is on the internet. But when shops came to push, the traditional politicians in Nigeria were caught napping. And if they were told, like I have always said, that they would be finding a way to manipulate an election won by people who were hidden on the internet, they wouldn't believe it. So this particular Electoral Act, what is the bone of contention here? Is that enshrine it in the law, black and white, that electronic transmission of the result is mandatory. That any result that is not transmitted on real time electronically remains void. It will no longer be counted as immediately the beavers is recording the time of casting of votes, accreditation, and all whatnot. Once it's done and the election result is declared at the polling unit, it should be transmitted at real time to the IREV, where everybody sees it.
But in addition to that, to that, I believe with that, with this is what also the systematic method that was used in 2023. So, according to what you said, Mr. Ogochukwu, why was it not effective? You understand?
Yes.
Why was it not effective? That is the question.
That is where I'm arriving there. Because the gray area now, where you see people are battling. I don't know if you had Isaac Fayoshe, the brother of the former governor of Ekiti State,
yes,
who told Obi this morning, one of the national dailies, that once there is no compulsory transmission of result enshrined in the Electoral Act, Obi should forget about becoming the president of Nigeria. And you know why he says it? The 2019 Electoral Act, the election that was supervised by Buhari before he now agreed on electronic transmission in 2022, is that INEC, where there are no network, use incidence form. You know what the incidence form means? If you go to any locality and you find out that there is a particular politician who is influencing that area, you jettison that beavers, or the one we used before these beavers came, jettison it and use manual registration and manual recognition of the people, and that is where they perpetuate electoral fraud. Elections are rigged from the polling unit to the collection center, because immediately a governor, you move from the local government, from the polling unit to the local government, from local government to the security agencies barricade you and begin to screen those who enters into the INEC headquarters in that state. That is where those manipulations and shenanigans happen. And Nigerians it was very obvious when we started seeing people's shoes and sandals reflect on IREV, and we saw mutilations, alterations clearly. And the IREV 2023 general elections, Nigerians, everybody saw it. But why this Electoral Act is very important is because if you leave it at the purview of INEC to choose whichever way they want to do the collation, INEC, who plays the piper, dictate the tone. But if the people stand their ground, like what happened in Abia State, how they returned OT, the people were there, transmit it. This one you call here is the one we want to see. Not that you call the number like what happened in River State. We are not obvious. I myself, I voted somewhere during the presidential election. I couldn't access my parish to go and vote during the presidential. During the governorship, because they didn't know that the people of Nigeria had already decided where they were going. They were taken aback by what Nigerians did during the presidential election. During the governorship, I couldn't access, I had 23 polling units in my parish. Because when I came to Rivers State newly, I asked them, where do I vote? Because of the volatile nature and the violence that they cause in Rivers State. Because you want to win an election in Nigeria, the amount of violence you can cause, and the amount of war chests you have, the money in your deep pockets, that won't win the election in Nigeria. It's not about those rhetorics you are talking about. In Rivers State, I saw it firsthand, 2023. As in, where can I vote? Because of the electoral violence and court-related activities that goes on, I went to register my polling booth in my own parish. I went there, casted my vote. We shared snacks, shared pure water and everything. But during the governorship election, I could not access that particular place. So that is what we are talking about. So that once they know why they are dodging from that. Remember that those senators you are expecting to pass this bill are those standing on the mandate of Mr. President.
Yes.
Even the opposition and those, I was very, very embittered when I saw one of the senators I respect in the person of Engineer Abaribe speaking from both sides of the mouth. He was he was granting an interview to the press, and he suddenly developed amnesia. I mean, somebody who is coherent became incoherent because he could not muster the courage to speak to Nigerians. Even Tambowal, that when we had his name as a member of that particular committee, all of us were saying, okay, they will not deceive us. But at the end of the day, Tambowal was here moping. He couldn't even remember. It was those behind that was even reminding Abaribe what was said between transmission and transfer. So what we are talking about here is that because of the cumbersomeness of the burden of proof of rigging election in Nigeria,
they cannot pass the bill.
No, that is why Nigerians want this bill to be in a clear, simple terms.
And the Senate too does not want to pass the bill.
They wouldn't want to, because they wouldn't want to shoot themselves on the foot. Because immediately you do a real-time transmission, most of them will not return. Majority of them, they know it, they will not return. They are not the people's choice. Those people you are seeing there are the people who call themselves. They have their clique, and what they do is to rotate themselves around that place. So what I am telling you is that it is not ambiguous for them to pass that bill and say, INEC, there is no incidence form. If like now you have in the current electoral act that if overvoting happens, cancel it. So this is what we want. If you don't produce a result 15 minutes or 20 minutes after that particular conclusion on the polling unit, according to what is recorded by the time recorded at the beavers, that result from that particular polling booth will not be made use of in the final analysis.
Okay, thank you so much, Ugochukwu. So, Kings, you will agree with me that these people are refusing to pass this bill because they know that Mr. President will not stand the chance to come back into office. Do you have a contrary opinion?
Well,
from what Ugochukwu just said?
Like I told you earlier, Cassie, I think this is in this particular discussion, there is no contrary opinion. You know.
Okay.
For what my colleague is saying, I also stand the fact that yes, his analysis are clear facts. You understand? Yes, he talked about participating in one or two, engaging in one or two activities compared to those elections and thereabout. But you know, in order not to make this thing too far, you understand, we can see that these people, you understand, whether in the electronic transmission form or in the manual form, I still see that they have, you know, a means to propagate, to manipulate the youth into their own favor. Now, it's a very simple logic here.
But if
Nigeria,
they use
I'm coming to something.
Means, they
Nigeria,
will not manipulate it.
Outside the INEC, I think if it will be possible, there should be another institution, there should be another forum that will be able to investigate and be able to, make sure that this electronic act or whatever act in which they will use to conduct elections in Nigeria should be absolutely monitored. That is what Nigeria needs right now. Okay. Because I believe this method was used in 2023. What was the outcome? That's the question we are asking ourselves here. So be it the electronic method of carrying out polls or the manual method, whatever we see, these people have what it takes to manipulate this whole thing.
Cassie, before you flip over, I think we are going to get more on this when the Senate reconvenes tomorrow because of the outcry.
Yes.
Okay. And they know civil society group, Nigerian Labour Congress,
but
activists, a lot of people have cried out.
They've been doing that for a long time.
No.
They've been doing that for a long time.
This particular one, they cannot swallow the pill. It will be a very hard pill for them because what they did now is that section 60.
They are trying to manipulate it
section 60 clause 3 is where the whole thing is. Exactly. They say we are returning. And now coming to speak big grammar to Nigerians, transfer and transmission. What's the difference? Okay. At least we went to small school now. Let them not use our brain. What they are talking about is not cumbersome. We want them to change and mandate INEC because now, recall that before when we saw when Obi and other political party went for the litigation at the Supreme Court, we saw these opposition political parties play the voice of Yakubu Mahmood saying that we are going to use electronic transfer, but at the end of the day, it was not taken as an exhibit. It was not taken as part of the law because the justices of the Supreme Court looked at the law that gave INEC a free will of choosing whichever way of doing the collection. After you are introducing electronic voting system, and you're now embodying the thing with also manual collection and manual system. Which way are we going? Are we going manual or are we going electronic? That's $1 million question for the senators. But today, they are in the eyes of the storm, and they cannot go away with this one. Nigerians know what happened in 2023, and we don't want a repeat of that. Nigerians are taking their destinies in their own hands.
All right, thank you so much, Ugochukwu. So we'll await their final results tomorrow. Then moving away from that particular story to the Ipob president cancelling the Monday sit at home across the East. We could recall that this sit at home started on August 2021, where the Ipob president was arrested and detained. Even till now, he has been sentenced to life imprisonment, currently serving his term in Sokoto. Now, can you tell us lots more about this cancellation of Monday sit at home?
Recently, I think on Saturday, it was announced by the official media publicity and secretary, who happened to be the spokesperson of the indigenous people of Biafra by the name Ima Powerful. You understand? I think he has conjunction and probably he has a means of getting information from even the detained leader, talking about Nnamdi Kanu in one way or the other. But it was outside being announced by the dear governor of Anambra State. We're talking about Solodu, who formally took some actions, shutting down the Onitsha market due to the impactation and the causes and the reasons impactation of the sit-at-home movement in the Anambra State. You understand? Although before then they've been crucial moves by most of the southeast governors trying to stop the actions, trying to stop the move of sit-at-home because they said it has affected their economic in one way or the other negatively. You could recall one of their financials made it very clear, saying that every Monday sit-at-home causes the state to lose the sum of 8 billion naira. So proud to this, which really triggered the state governor and thereabout, which he took that action of shutting down the Onitsha market and also giving some strict warnings that if care is not taken, he will totally shut it down for total renovation, and it might last probably, if care is not taken, up to a year and thereabout. So recently there's been an official move that even from the Ipob organizations, the Ipob movement, the Biafra movement, and the Ipob leader himself, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, saying that every sit-at-home should be totally cancelled. There should be a immediate resumption of residents, traders, students, workers.
Everybody going back to their duties.
Going back to their normal activities, daily activities. So, and anyone who stands against the motion, should be checked to see that yes, that person or that group is against even the Ipob movement. So they've been enforcement warning. Even the Ipob have warned against group trying to attempt, enforcing such sit-at-home again. Even the governor stands, just like I said, by Chukwuma Soludo. All these are effective motive to. I think you see in the southeast, normally in Nigeria constitution, I don't see anywhere, where they said there should be a sit-at-home movement in the nation. So initially, why should the southeast be the only region in Nigeria, practicing such a mandate? So, well, it's a good one. It's a good collective move, even from the Ipob leader, and also from other Ipob enforcement to stop that move and find a better way, in trying to have an amendment with the constitution, that suits. With the move that suits Nigeria constitution.
All right, thank you so much, King.
In addition to that, before you cut me, in addition to that, we could see the impact of Nnamdi Kanu also allowing this move to take place. So I think it's also another measures that the president, this administration, will have to still see and make sure that the Ipob leader, I'm talking about Nnamdi Kanu, looking at his move as well concerning this, finding a way to bring back, set the Ipob leader free from this.
All right, thank you so much, Kings Ojalo. Over to you, Ugochukwu. Now, the Ipob leader said this sit-at-home takes effect from February 9th, which is on a Monday. Everybody should go out and do their daily activities. And he said if the governor is trying to shut down some of the markets, some of these business centers, he should consult stakeholders. Now, this Ipob, looking at when it started in August 2021. It has been 5 years already. Is this Ipob leader, did he cancel this based on pressure? Was he pressurized to cancel the Monday sit-at-home, or he did it willingly? And you think these people, the residents, will trust this Monday sit-at-home cancellation enough to go out and do their daily activities?
Cassie, anybody who is not a student of history will not understand what sit-at-home means, and those who don't have the knowledge of what Ipob represents will be like Igbo people will say that if you are not there when they buried someone, if you want to assume, you start from the wrong place. So sit-at-home first is a fundamental right of every citizen of a given place, according to United Nations Charter, which Nigeria is signatory to. It is a civil way of disobedience, where people will come out. Remember that when Ipob started, not even Ipob, Masob, after the Nigerian Biafran War, Nigerians started killing the Igbos after the 3R, reconciliation, rehabilitation, and reconstruction, as propagated by the then president Yakubu Gowon, which he did not fulfill till today. The ravages of war is still staring the East on the face. So that's marginalization that Igbo suffered. Remember, they were given 20 naira after the war, no matter how much you had in the bank. After the changing of the Nigerian pounds to naira, they were given 20 naira. All those people, I don't know if you have visited on
And then 20 naira was a very big money.
And see what that 20 naira metamorphosed into in the southeast. Southeasterners are self-made. So the bringing in of sit-at-home as a weapon of tool and civil disobedience is enshrined in the United Nations Charter of Freedom of Human Rights and of the indigenous people. Now, recall when Masop started by Wazirike, before he was bought over by the Nigerian state. People were going out to protest. Police will maim them. Police will use carnage. They use tear gas and all what's not. People will get injured. Nnamdi Kanu started before 2015. I met Nnamdi Kanu in Malaysia in 2014 when he came to propagate the Biafran the Biafran story. You know, before any Igbo man will follow you, leave what he's doing and follow you, he must know what you have and what is in it for him or her. Nnamdi Kanu went about preaching the gospel of the Biafran state and what Biafra means and what it will mean to the unborn children from the southeast. So when he started, the Nigerian state started gagging him, started all manipulations and all shenanigans in order to kill that particular agitation. What happened? That was where he introduced it. See, when you say that Sit at Home started in 2021, you're not good with history. Nnamdi Kanu has started it even before when the Nigerian military wanted to kill him at Afaruku.
But the Sit at Home Act was actually implemented.
No, Sit at Home was used anytime Biafra is honoring our fallen heroes, the fallen heroes of Biafra, on 30th May every year, to remember the fallen heroes and heroines who fought the war. Then, instead of our people going out to express themselves, and they organize a protest and will be killed, and some will be caught and taken to prison, he now said that we should use the weapon of sitting at home, civil disobedience. Sit at home, don't go out. Let's see if the police or the Nigerian military will come to your house and kill you. That was what brought about it. It was now amplified when Nnamdi Kanu was caught, when he was wrongfully rendated back to Nigeria against the international charter, which Nigeria is signatory to, that when you want to repatriate or when you want to go to another country and rendate someone, there should be a synergy between the country and that particular the person that you want to go and get that person in their own country, which is part of the appeal grounds that Nnamdi Kanu has filed. So here, the Sit at Home was now amplified in order to show the dissatisfaction of Ipob members on what Nnamdi Kanu was going through. That is where we are getting it as a weapon which they are using again. And now said it is not going to be occasionally, it will now be every Monday. That let the Nigerian government know how aggrieved we are. That is what brought about it. Now, even before they are saying stop it, Nnamdi Kanu has already, during his trial time, under Njaku and Justice Omotosho, that Sit at Home should be stopped. He has already given directives to that. Now that the governor of Anambra State have said that the people should be coming out for more, then this one I'm saying now might be Ipob trying to save face and try to say that let it be known that the governor has stopped it. Remember that Ipob also have the people that have infiltrated it from the government. Other people are now doing something that is not the laid-down tenets of Ipob, killing our people, maiming them, and trying to use weapons to. But then they cannot stand for non-violence, according to Mahatma Gandhi of Ghana, of India, the non-violence approach of getting what he wants. But other people now infiltrated and started perpetuating all kinds of ills against the people. That is where you see the confusion. Nnamdi Kanu now gave a directive that it should be stopped. But those evil people continued. But now, even the Sit at Home cannot stop, because while Nnamdi Kanu is in prison, is the time that it should even be amplified. when he was undergoing his trials, they were using it. But now that he is now being sentenced, they should amplify it. But I know they will use it. But you see, they sit at home on Mondays. I support Ipob to cancel it.
Okay.
But anytime Nnamdi Kanu is going to court, or there is something that the Ipob are doing that they want to, the generality of the Igbo states to join, you will see that they will pronounce sit at home in order for the world to get the attention and the message of what is happening.
All right, thank you so much, Ugochukwu. So we'll move away from that story to insecurity. We can see that insecurity is becoming a huge concern in our country. Gunmen ambush vehicles along Onitsha-Enugu Expressway. Now, those gunmen, they ambush commuters on their way, took their vehicles. Some of them even managed to escape, while some were ambushed, were actually captured. Now, eyewitnesses, they're the ones giving this report that prior to this incident, they were trying to reach the PPRO, but his number was unreachable. So can you tell us about this whole story and why, this thing happens in the north, now it is coming to the south? Should we be concerned about it? Should we be concerned about this whole development that is happening in our society?
It should be blamed on the doorstep of the government.
Okay.
I go to the Igbo proverb again, that there is a particular bird that when you want to shoot it is very tiny, that you should mention the type of bird that you want to shoot, that you're aiming at, so that that particular wanza will not be running
to the wrong
without stopping. So it's good that the Nigerian state has failed in so many ways to call those crimes a name. Recall, before they even, it didn't take a time for Malami, who is going through his own litigation now, to proscribe Ipob. But we know what it took before they were able to designate the terrorists in the northern zone. Even when America and the world had designated Boko Haram as a terrorist set, in Nigeria they were not. It took a whole lot of pressure for the Nigerian state to designate, not even them, they said terrorists. So you recall the massacre in Kwara State was quickly called Muslims massacred. But over time, you never had any media in Nigeria saying that those killings that happened in Plateau, in Taraba State, in Benue State, and all those places, it was never tagged Christian massacre or Christian Muslim massacre. You recall that once there was killing or any form of crime in the southeast, it was quickly, attributed to Ipob. But I've not had any particular headline news in Nigeria that carried out ISIS or ISWAP or Boko Haram or Lakorawa adopts this set of people. They term them bandits, they term them herdsmen, they term them all sort of names. I was in a meeting with in Kaduna State during the issue of Southern Kaduna and the people that were killing them. The former head of state was there, who is Abdul Salam Abubakar. A retired general from Kagoma in Kaduna State asked him a question he didn't answer. He said, if I have a problem in my house, perhaps I'm having a fight with someone and you come in, and that is my house, and the other person is a visitor, whom will you ask to leave the place? Whom will you ask to leave that particular for peace to reign? People are in their houses, in their community, and somebody is coming there to look for a means of livelihood, and the problem ensues. Who leaves the place for peace to reign? Is it the owner of the house or the person that is a stranger? It's $1 million for Nigerians to answer. So when you talk about kidnapping, this is an act of kidnapping. And you can't take it away from what I've just said about people who infiltrated Ipob. The people who have used that opportunity to be making bricks business and money. And the failure of the government. Because the government has all the apparatus, all the way without to fight criminality. But how will they fight criminality? Since 1999, I don't know how many industries or how many firms that have been built in Nigeria, or Obasanjo's foreign trips only metamorphosing debt cancellation. Jonathan continued, Buhari continued, and Tinubu. I don't know all their foreign trips that has brought about those other countries coming to build their industries in Nigeria in order to employ the pool of Nigerian youths that are leaving the university day and night, that are graduating. So people take to crime for different reasons. So what happened in the East, adoption of a commuter is only for commercial purpose. Those people are going to demand for ransom. And when they make those contacts, it's happened to me, who was the communication and digital minister during the Buhari administration, told us to have NIN. People have bank. It will surprise you, Cassie. Most of those, even those monies are wired through the banks. Those calls are made to contact the families of these people. But we are told that they can monitor where the calls are coming from. So it is a state failure that is happening. And it's not going to stop now. Whatever we say now is not going to stop it, because the nation itself, they are not ready to nip it in the bud.
All right, thank you so much. So, Kings, this is my last question for you. What step do you think the state and the federal security to take in order to stop this killing, in order to restore our public confidence in the life of the travelers? And
well, just as my colleague said, he mentioned something fervently where I concur to. He said our presidents, leaders has been making trips, you understand, in order to find measures on how to stop this menace happening in the country. Now, we've seen in various times, various occasions, where news like this comes from the south, from the north, the middle belt, north central, and thereabout. Now we are also seeing this happening in the east. Now, if this is not a form of maybe being ISIS or Boko Haram, this is a form of kidnapping, and kidnapping has been a very serious business in Nigeria so far. You understand? Also, still part of the north, yes, but in the south, the east, it has been a very serious business, which, just as my colleague rightfully said, that our federal government and also our leaders are failed to really taking accurate measures.
What steps?
I'm coming to that, Cassie. Now, the incident that happened at Gogogo, that is Enugu, Port Harcourt,
Enugu
Onitsha. Thank you, Enugu Onitsha way. If you look at it, if you look at that news, it happened close to a police checkpoint, sir.
Yes.
A police checkpoint, I think they said just 2 meters away from the police checkpoints. Now, tell me, this is a place the security forces exercise their daily duty, and this was where this incident happened. So if you look at it, definitely we will rightfully say, look, there is let me not use the word collaboration, because I don't want to start putting our police forces in the medium of terrorism or kidnapping. But you definitely it sounds as if definitely there has been a collaborative move, which we don't really know about.
Because we could recall that the PPRO's number was not connected as at the time.
As at that time, you understand, and even those who are that is we are talking about the villagers has also made it clear that look, they've been panic cries and thereabout. So are we trying to say that in the Enugu State command where there was a manhunt close to it, didn't have the signal of this? So the thing is this, the solution is a very clear thing. You understand? I think our leaders who have been taking, just as you say, they've been making measures. They've been taking measures. They are traveling, look at recently our president went to Turkey to have a discussion on how to tackle insecurity in the country. We've also seen him raising budgets on security insecurity issues. Even Musa, the chief of defense staff, has also clarified one or two things on these same issues. You understand? And you can see that it's unraveling the country, not just in the north. You can see it clearly also happening in the south. So it's a very simple thing. Until I've said it on this platform before, until we draft out, sponsors of these perpetrators, until we draft out people who are strongly behind these invaders, be it kidnapping, be it Boko Haram, be it ISIS or whatever, that is the only way this menace will come to an end. Okay. Issues like this happen in every other country. Okay, look at Burkina Faso, for instance. One of the reasons why the coup plot took place between President Ibrahim military Traoré and the military who he stepped down from power was because of this issue. You understand? Insecurity was unraveling Burkina Faso. So many border areas were really suffering this crisis. That was why he seized power from him. And if you look at the state of Burkina Faso now in terms of security, it's taking a good shape. You understand? Okay, a country like Nigeria that is still practicing a democratic system, we have failed to find solution to a measure that will be easily taken or tackled by our security forces. We still remain the third strongest military in Africa, but yet, what has been the outcome? So it shows that our federal government and also those who are in charge of the security forces are still sleeping on this matter. Because I don't think, recently the AFCON commander met with President Buhari. You understand? We heard that there are few troops who came into Nigeria. I'm not trying to say that the US is trying to play propaganda with the president, but for what I suggest is find total solution on how to stop the menace happening in the country in terms of insecurity. That is what Nigerians need. I think this is the major thing Nigeria need right now. It's not about.
So can you tell us one step, like one measure, one thing that this government and security agents should do in order to protect?
I've listed it recently. I told you that except hidden sponsors who are in the political field as well can be drafted out. Then those who are in the security forces that have hijacked the security forces, be wearing the camouflage, who are having conjunctions with the so-called bandit and ISIS until they are drafted out, fished out. That is when this menace will stop in Nigeria.
Okay,
Cassie, you see, lack of political will. Serious lack of political will. And why is the government adamant on tackling all these things? Elections are coming. We are in Rivers State.
Yeah.
I think we have time to do it. Just move around Rivers State and see how touts and those youths, call them community youths, call them the
and in addition
boys.
To that, sir, in addition to that, you could see them in the case of the election now. You say, fine, we know that election is coming, but why you said that government has failed to do it, is it not the best time? Okay, I think if the president or this administration would have taken measure to tackle this, sir, wouldn't it be part of the best measures of his campaigning by tackling this?
They cannot. You can't place nothing. You can't place something on nothing. You can't give what you don't have. It is a very simple norm.
Okay, we are saying Nigeria doesn't have the power.
No, the only thing that if you take those people out, where are you going to put them? There are no jobs. The government is not creating jobs. The only job they are creating is to, give people charge of a main road and to start collecting money from motorists and all that. So that is why we are saying all the foreign trips they have been doing. What has we benefited?
That is exactly.
What have been benefited? So if there are jobs, if there are industries, if those foreign trips have benefited us, and there are, or even revive the ailing industries, the ones that have died, the ones that are in comatose, and giving grants to SMEs. People, when you are back from work, you'll be tired to be thinking about how to go to the main road and adopt people now. And the youth are not meaningfully engaged, and the government are not doing anything about it. So there is no way we can make a headway. So it is government failure. It is a total failure. Everything is, the box stops at the president's table. The box stops at after God created the world. They handed it over to man, and it is the government.
And that's it on the show Citizen Dialogue. Many thanks for watching. To you, our amazing viewers, it's a pleasure having you. Thank you so much, Kings, for joining us. Ugochukwu, it's a pleasure having you.
Hey, thank you, Cassie.
And I remain your host, Cassie Tony. Bye for now.